The underestimation. The skies above New Shanghai darkened as the massive Keldorian vessel eclipsed the sun. At over 17 kilometers long, the alien flagship resembled a polished obsidian arrowhead, its surface occasionally pulsing with veins of electric blue energy. Similar ships hovered above every major human settlement across Earth, Mars, and Luna. Humanity's first contact with an advanced alien civilization had arrived without warning, and it wasn't going well. In the United Earth Defense Force headquarters beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Amara Okafor watched the live feeds with practiced stoicism. After 30 years of military service, she had prepared for many scenarios, but nothing quite like this. "Status report," she demanded, her voice steady despite the chaos unfolding across the command center. Colonel Zhang looked up from his terminal, his face pale. "The Keldorian vessels have positioned themselves above all 23 major population centers. They've bypassed every defense system we have. Orbital platforms, missile arrays, electromagnetic countermeasures, all disabled. And our space fleet. The Mars Defense Squadron was neutralized when they approached the vessels. No survivors reported." Amara closed her eyes for a moment. 6,000 soldiers lost in an instant. What about communications with the alien command? A communications specialist spoke up. "They call themselves the Keldorian Empire, General. They've established a direct link and are requesting." She paused, searching for the right word. "Demanding your presence for terms of Earth's incorporation into their domain." Incorporation. Amara repeated, the euphemism for conquest not lost on her. "Put them through." The main display flickered, revealing a humanoid figure with iridescent blue skin and 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. Its facial structure resembled sculpted marble, beautiful in an alien, unsettling way. "I am Supreme Commander Kelzak of the Keldorian Expansion Fleet," the being announced without preamble, its English flawless despite the alien vocal structure. "You are General Amara Okafor, designated primary defender of your species." Amara straightened her shoulders. "I represent the United Earth government. We are a sovereign species with established colonies beyond our home planet. We wish to establish peaceful diplomatic relations." The alien's upper eyes narrowed slightly. "Your developmental assessment has been completed. Your technology is approximately 2.7 metrocycles behind Keldorian standard. Your species has been categorized as Stage 3, potential auxiliary civilization. Incorporation will proceed with minimal disruption if you comply with standard protocols." "And if we don't comply?" Amara asked, though she suspected the answer. "Observation of your historical records indicates your species responds poorly to direct threats. I will therefore simply state that non-compliance would be inefficient for both our civilizations." As if to emphasize the point, screens around the command center showed feeds from orbital satellites. A Keldorian vessel positioned above the uninhabited Phoenix Islands fired a thin beam of violet energy. The entire archipelago, nearly 11,000 square kilometers, simply vanished, leaving only churning ocean where islands had stood moments before. "This demonstration concludes our initial diplomatic exchange," Commander Kelzak stated. "You have 12 of your hours to prepare your population for the incorporation process. Further resistance will result in targeted removals." The communication ended abruptly. Colonel Zhang looked at Amara, the question unspoken but clear on his face. "Get me Captain Reyes," she ordered. Now. Captain Elena Reyes had been halfway through a simulation run with her special operations team when the aliens arrived. Now, 6 hours later, she stood in General Okafor's office, examining the limited data they had managed to gather on the Keldorian vessels. "They're using some form of gravitational manipulation we've never seen before," Elena explained, manipulating the holographic display. "Their ships don't just resist our weapons, they redirect the energy. When the Mars Squadron fired, their missiles were literally turned back on them." "So a direct assault is suicide," Amara concluded. "With our current technology." "Absolutely." Elena zoomed in on a section of the alien vessel. "But there's something interesting here," Their energy signatures fluctuate in a predictable pattern, almost like. Like what, Captain? Like computer code, incredibly advanced, but still following logical patterns. Alina's dark eyes lit up with the spark that had made her both famous and controversial within military circles. General, I think their entire technology is built on perfect logical efficiency. And that helps us how, exactly? Amara asked, frustration edging into her voice. Because humans aren't logical, Alina replied with a hint of a smile. We're messy, contradictory, and intuitive. We make creative leaps that defy straightforward reasoning. She pulled up files on her team members. My unit consists of individuals specifically selected for cognitive flexibility. Artists, improvisational thinkers, people whose minds make connections others don't see. General Okafor studied the personnel files. You're suggesting psychological warfare against an advanced alien species. I'm suggesting we have something they might not anticipate. Did you notice how the Keldorian commander referenced our historical records? They've studied us, but in a systematic way. They understand our technology, our formal military strategies, but they might not truly comprehend human unpredictability. Amara considered this. What exactly are you proposing, Captain? A small team could potentially infiltrate their command vessel. Not to destroy it. We clearly don't have the technology for that. But to introduce chaos into their systems. Infiltrate. Their ship is 17 kilometers long with technology centuries beyond ours. Alina pointed to another section of the scan. There are regular energy transfers between their ships and small scout vessels. We've observed these exchanges above every major city. If we could capture one of these scouts, we might be able to use it to approach the mothership undetected. That's a lot of ifs, Captain. With respect, General, we're out of conventional options. General Okafor walked to the window, looking out at the mountain landscape. The Keldorian ship was visible on the horizon, a dark blot against the afternoon sky. 6 hours left before their deadline. Your team is called Cognitive Operations for a reason, Amara finally said. If you believe human unpredictability is our advantage, then exploit it. She turned back to Alina. You have authorization for operation. What are you calling it? Alina allowed herself a small smile. Operation Cognitive Dissonance. Appropriate. You have 6 hours to capture a scout ship and implement your plan. Whatever it is. Thank you, General. Don't thank me yet, Captain. If you fail, humanity becomes a footnote in someone else's empire. The Keldorian scout vessel followed its programmed surveillance route above the remains of Denver, cataloging resources and mapping infrastructure. Its 2-member crew monitored the information flow with the efficiency their species prided itself on. This sector contains primitive medical research facilities. The pilot, Junior Scout Nexvala, reported to the main vessel. Marking for preservation during incorporation. Acknowledged, came the automated response. Continue systematic survey. Neither Keldorian noticed the 6 human heat signatures concealed within the ruins of what had once been a university physics building, nor did they detect the makeshift device constructed from salvaged quantum laboratory equipment. Captain Alina Reyes gave the signal. Dr. Maya Patel, formerly one of Earth's leading quantum physicists before joining Alina's unconventional team, activated the device. The scout ship immediately lurched in the air, its propulsion system fluctuating wildly. What is happening? The Keldorian navigator demanded, 6-fingered hands moving rapidly across control surfaces. All systems are reporting contradictory inputs. Impossible. The pilot responded, though the evidence was clear as the ship began descending uncontrollably. Activate emergency protocols. But the ship continued its descent, coming to rest almost gently amid the rubble. Alina's team moved quickly, surrounding the vessel. The specialized resonance charges they placed on the hull were designed based on the energy signatures they had observed, targeting potential weak points in the alien material. When the charges detonated, they didn't explode with conventional force, but rather created a field of competing quantum states that temporarily disrupted the molecular cohesion of the whole material. A section of the ship simply phased into a different state of matter, creating an opening. The two Keldorians inside found themselves facing 6 humans in advanced tactical gear, led by a woman whose expression showed neither fear nor uncertainty. "We'll be borrowing your ship," Elena stated calmly. Elena looked around at her team, each member focused intently on their tasks, adapting to alien technology through sheer human determination and cognitive flexibility. "Don't worry," she murmured. "We will." The adaptation. The captured Keldorian scout ship approached the massive command vessel, its transponder automatically exchanging identification codes. Inside, Captain Elena Reyes and her team monitored the communications, tension evident in their controlled breathing and alert postures. "They're accepting our approach vector," Zoe Washington reported, her fingers dancing across the adapted control interface. "The automated docking protocols are engaging." Dr. Maya Patel looked up from the complex energy signature analysis she had been conducting. "These systems are fascinating. They're so perfectly efficient that they don't even consider the possibility of deception. Everything is based on absolute trust in their technology." "Pride comes before a fall," murmured Darius Jackson, the team's cultural specialist and former psychological operations expert, even across galaxies, apparently. Elena remained focused, maintained calm silence. "Remember, once we're aboard, we have approximately 20 minutes before they realize this scout isn't following standard procedures." The small vessel glided smoothly into an enormous docking bay within the command ship. Dozens of identical scouts were arranged in perfect geometric patterns. Robotic systems immediately began connecting to their ship's external ports. "Now comes the tricky part," Elena said. "Maya, is the interference package ready?" The physicist nodded, holding up a small device that resembled a metallic sphere with pulsing lines of light. "It should create a bubble of quantum instability that will confuse their sensors just long enough for us to exit the ship undetected." "Should?" Jacob Chen asked with a raised eyebrow. "Theoretical physics has become very practical lately," Maya replied with a thin smile. "I have confidence in the math, if not the circumstances." Elena checked her tactical gear one last time. Each team member carried minimal equipment. Their primary weapon was knowledge, not firepower. "Activate the interference package on my mark." 3, 2, 1. Mark. Maya activated the device. A barely perceptible ripple spread outward, like heat distortion on a summer day. The robotic systems connecting to their ship paused, then resumed their functions but with subtle differences in their patterns. "It's working," Zoe whispered. "The systems are operating as if we're not here." "Let's move," Elena ordered. "Rishi, you have the ship's schematics." Rishi Kapoor nodded, projecting a 3-dimensional map from his wrist device. Based on energy distribution and communication patterns, their central processing hub should be here. He indicated a location deep within the vessel. All their systems seemed to connect to this point. The team exited the scout ship, moving in perfect coordination through the massive docking bay. No alarms sounded. The few Keldorians present moved purposefully about their tasks, not noticing the humans slipping between vessels and maintenance structures. "Their situational awareness is surprisingly limited," Jacob observed quietly as they entered a corridor. "They rely almost entirely on their technology for security. A species that's never faced a serious threat wouldn't develop the same instincts we have." Darius responded. "They've probably been the apex predator for so long they've forgotten what it means to be prey." The corridors of the Keldorian vessel were unlike any human structure. Curves and angles followed mathematical principles rather than practical design. Light emanated from the material itself, creating an environment without shadows. They encountered few Keldorians. The ship seemed to operate largely through automated systems. When they did pass aliens, Elena's team moved with deliberate patterns designed to exploit what they had learned about Keldorian visual processing. The aliens' 4 eyes gave them superior depth perception, but created blind spots at specific angles. Blind spots that humans, with their evolutionary history of both predator and prey, instinctively understood how to use. After 15 minutes of careful progress, they reached a section where the corridors became more populated. Keldorians moved between rooms filled with complex equipment and holographic displays. "We need a diversion," Elena decided. "Jacob, Darius, your turn." The two men nodded and moved to a nearby access panel. Using information gleaned from their study of the scout ship, they interfaced with the system and introduced a seemingly minor error, a simple mathematical inconsistency in the environmental control protocols. For a species whose entire civilization was built on perfect logical consistency, the result was immediate. Alarms sounded as systems detected the impossible calculation. Keldorians rushed toward the affected section, their orderly movements now urgent and confused. "Now," Elena commanded, and the team slipped past the commotion, making their way deeper into the ship. Finally, they reached a massive chamber dominated by a central column of swirling blue energy. Concentric rings of control stations surrounded it, though only a handful of Keldorians were present, all focused intently on their tasks. "That has to be their central processing core," Maya whispered, eyes wide with scientific wonder. "It looks like they're using quantum entanglement on a scale I didn't think was possible." Elena assessed the situation quickly. "We need access to one of those terminals." "Zoe, you're up." The systems specialist studied the room layout. "There's a station near the far wall that seems to be minimally monitored. If I can reach it, I might be able to interface with their network." "I'll create another distraction," Jacob offered. "Something more creative this time." He activated a small device they had assembled from components in the scout ship. When placed against the wall, it began generating a harmonic resonance that propagated through the ship's material, a sound beyond human hearing, but perfectly tuned to Keldorian auditory sensitivity. The effect was immediate. The aliens in the room suddenly stopped working, their hands moving to the sides of their heads in evident discomfort. Several moved toward the source of the disturbance, leaving terminals unattended. Zoe slipped across the room and positioned herself at the abandoned station. Her hands moved hesitantly at first, then with increasing confidence as she deciphered the interface. "I'm in their system," she reported through their secure comm link. "It's extraordinary. Their entire network operates on principles of perfect logical consistency. Every system is interconnected in a way that's mathematically beautiful." "Can you implement our package?" Elena asked. "I think so. Their security is focused entirely on external threats that follow logical patterns. They have no concept of the kind of creative chaos we're about to introduce." While Zoe worked, Maya studied the energy column. "Captain, this technology is beyond anything we've theorized. They're manipulating quantum states across their entire fleet simultaneously. It's how they coordinate their ships with such precision." "And if that coordination were disrupted?" Elena asked. A slow smile spread across Maya's face. "The possibilities are interesting." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the chamber. The remaining Keldorians turned toward the human intruders, their posture shifting to alert status. "We've been detected," Rishi warned unnecessarily. A voice echoed through the chamber, the same voice that had spoken to General Okafor. "Supreme Commander Kelzak, human infiltrators. Your presence is illogical. Your actions are futile. Surrender immediately." Helena stepped forward, purposefully making herself visible. "Kelzak, we need to talk." There was a pause, as if the Keldorian commander was processing this unexpected response. "There is nothing to discuss. Your resistance is inefficient and will be terminated." "Before you do that," Elena replied, her voice steady, "you might want to consider what we've already done to your systems." As if on cue, the swirling blue energy in the central column flickered momentarily. The Keldorians at the control stations became agitated, their movements suddenly urgent. "Supreme Commander," one called out, "there is an anomaly in the quantum synchronization matrix. Pattern recognition fails to identify the cause. Another alien reported computational integrity compromised in sections 42 through 87. Logical paradoxes detected in primary decision algorithms. Kelzak appeared on a large holographic display, his four eyes narrowed in what Elena recognized as confusion. "What have you done?" "We've introduced something your perfect logical systems can't process," Elena explained. "Human creativity. Cognitive dissonance. Paradoxes that can't be resolved through pure logic." Zoe continued typing rapidly at the terminal. "Their entire network is based on binary certainty. True or false, correct or incorrect. I've introduced concepts that are both simultaneously, creating cascading contradictions throughout their systems." On screens around the chamber, evidence of the disruption was becoming visible. Ships in Earth orbit began moving erratically as their coordination systems received conflicting commands. Defense systems activated and deactivated without clear purpose. "Fascinating," Maya observed, studying data flowing across a nearby display. "Their technology is so advanced, yet fundamentally brittle. They never develop redundancies or error-handling protocols because they never anticipated errors in their perfect logic." Kelzak's image flickered as the disruption spread. "This is unexpected. Your species was categorized as primitive." "That was your first mistake," Elena replied. "You judged us by our technology, not by our adaptability. Humans have survived and thrived precisely because we aren't logical all the time. We create, we imagine. We make intuitive leaps that defy straightforward analysis." "Your actions are still futile," Kelzak insisted, though with less certainty. "Our civilization spans thousands of worlds. This temporary disruption will be corrected." "Perhaps," Elena acknowledged, "but not before we've transmitted the same creative chaos to every ship in your fleet. Right now, human resistance forces worldwide are uploading our cognitive dissonance packages into every Keldorian system they can access." This was only partially true. Elena had no way of knowing if General Okafor had succeeded in distributing their approach to other resistance cells. But bluffing was another uniquely human trait that the logical Keldorians seemed ill-equipped to detect. Kelzak's image stabilized as auxiliary systems engage. "You have demonstrated unexpected capabilities. This necessitates a reassessment." "That's what we do," Elena said. "We force reassessments. We adapt. We overcome. Your perfect logical efficiency makes you predictable. Our messy, contradictory nature makes us survivors." For several long moments, Kelzak was silent, his alien features unreadable to human eyes. Finally, he spoke. "A temporary cessation of hostilities is warranted while we recategorize your species. Your demonstration of cognitive capabilities exceeds preliminary assessment parameters." Elena allowed herself a small smile. "In other words, you're calling a truce because we surprised you. Your interpretation is imprecise but acceptable for communicative purposes." Kelzak replied. "Withdraw your infiltration team and discontinue system disruption. We will withdraw our incorporation protocols pending further analysis. And the ships above our cities. They will maintain position but suspend all offensive capabilities as a gesture of reconsideration." Elena looked at her team, each member nodding in agreement. They had achieved more than they had dared hope for. Not victory, exactly, but a critical shift in the balance of power. "Agreed," she told Kelzak. "But understand this. If you attempt to incorporate Earth again, you'll find that what we've shown you today is just the beginning of human ingenuity." 3 days later, Elena stood beside General Okafor in a newly established communications center beneath the Rocky Mountains. On the main display, Supreme Commander Kelzak addressed a joint session of the United Earth Government. "The Keldorian Empire acknowledges Earth and its colonies as an independent associate civilization," the alien announced formally. "Your species' unique cognitive attributes have been recognized as valuable. We propose knowledge exchange rather than incorporation." After the transmission ended, General Okafor turned to Elena. "You know they'll be back eventually. once they've figured out how to counter our unique cognitive attributes. Perhaps, Alina agreed, but they'll return finding a humanity that's had time to learn from their technology. And more importantly, they'll face a species that now knows its greatest strength isn't technology at all. It's our unpredictability, our creativity, our ability to make intuitive leaps that their perfect logical minds can't anticipate. Amara smiled, a rare expression for the stoic general. Captain Rice, I'm authorizing the expansion of your cognitive operations division. I want teams analyzing everything we can learn from the Keldorians, while maintaining our uniquely human perspective. Yes, General. Alina paused, then added, there's something Maya discovered in their quantum communications technology that she thinks we could adapt in unexpected ways. Something the Keldorians never considered because it defies conventional logic. I'm listening. She believes we could potentially use their quantum entanglement principles, not just for communication or transportation, but for something entirely new, a way of processing information that combines logical precision with human intuitive leaps. Amara considered this, a synthesis of approaches. Exactly. Neither purely Keldorian efficiency nor purely human chaos, but something new that draws strength from both. The general nodded slowly. That's how humanity has always advanced, by learning from encounters, adapting and finding new paths forward. She looked at the star chart now displayed on the main screen, countless worlds illuminated across the galaxy. And it's how we'll take our place among the stars. Above them, the Keldorian ships still hovered in Earth's atmosphere, but their presence no longer cast a shadow of fear. Instead, they served as a reminder of humanity's first lesson in cosmic diplomacy. Sometimes the greatest power isn't technological superiority, but the simple, unpredictable creativity of the human mind. The Keldorians had come expecting to find primitives. They had departed acknowledging equals. It wouldn't be the last time an advanced civilization made that cosmic error when encountering humanity. And each time, humans would be ready. Adaptive, creative, and wonderfully, effectively unpredictable.